Hey guys, so today we're going to be doing a makeup video. It's going to be Cinderella, and yeah, we're going to be going through the origin story of it and the movie. I think I'm actually going to do the movie first since we all know that, and then we'll do the origin story afterwards. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so first let's start with a few disclaimers. One is that there's going to be mention of animals eating humans' eyes. There's also going to be self-harm of 2 people. And yeah, so that one might be a trigger warning. I don't really know about the animals eating people. I mean, that might be. I don't know. But just so you guys know that is happening. And yeah, I will be listing my products, the products I use, down in the description. I will mention that this is a new one that I got from BoxyCharm, and you can check that video out in the description. I'll put that in there. Okay, so let's get into this video. Okay, so we're going to start with the movie first. Cinderella's mom is already passed away, and her father wants to get remarried. So her father gets remarried, and she has 2 stepdaughters. And unfortunately, the father dies, and so the stepmother is stuck taking care of Cinderella. And Cinderella is basically like a servant for them for most of her life, until one day she asks her stepmother if she can go to the ball, and the stepmother says yes, but only if she cleans the whole house and can get a dress by the end of the day. So Cinderella tries to do all that stuff in time, but unfortunately, it just doesn't work out. Her friends, the animals, try to help her out, and she rushes downstairs, and the stepsisters tear her dress off of her, and she runs to her garden in the back and starts crying, and then her fairy godmother shows up and gets her a carriage out of a pumpkin, turns the animals into a horse, driver, and a footman. So they bring her to the ball, and she dances with the king, and she runs away because midnight, everything's going to disappear. She won't have a carriage, she won't have a horse, 2 horses, she won't have a footman or a driver or a dress or shoes or anything. Which I just realized, if her whole outfit was supposed to disappear at the stroke of midnight, and like everything else was supposed to disappear, right? Why didn't the shoe disappear? And I mean, with the foot, like there's a lot of like statements on like the shoe, like, oh, it should have fit. Like if it fit, then why did it come off? But I mean, you could be sweating in it and it came off, or like her foot probably started to hurt really badly, so she just like took it off, and they just didn't put that in the movie. Like, who really knows, But yeah, okay, so we're gonna get back to what I was saying. So she just goes back home. The shoe doesn't disappear. The stepmother like you can see in the movie that she thinks that it's her, but she doesn't actually know. Then she finds out later on that actually is her, because Cinderella just doesn't know how to keep her mouth shut of what happened. And she's not that smart. So I just spritzed the blender, which I actually need to get a new one. I mean, like, look at that. It's disgusting, but yeah, I usually just spritz it a little bit if I don't want to get up or anything. So yeah, that's just a little tip, I guess. So Cinderella went to the ball, and the stepmother caught on to the fact that, she went, and she was forbidden to go. But, Cinderella does what Cinderella wants. There was a decree or whatever that whatever woman fit the shoe, that they would marry the prince. So one day, the castle, like, guards or whatever went to Cinderella's house and got the stepdaughters to try the shoes on, but it didn't work. And this is where it, like, comes in to be really self-harming in the Grimm Brothers version, but we're not there yet, so we're just gonna wait. So the footman, he puts the shoes on the stepdaughters, but, you know, it doesn't fit. He's like, is there anyone else in this house that could possibly fit this shoe? And she's like, oh, no, like, no one else. And, I mean, come on. The mice, they come in clutch, okay? They come in clutch. So the stepmother was actually getting her key stolen at this point in the movie from, like, the mice. And Cinderella got to open the door because the mice helped her. And she ran down those stairs like nothing was going to stop her. And I'm trying the BB cream on now. Well, she almost got to try on the shoe. But the stepmother broke the shoe. I mean, it was made of glass. It was bound to break at some point. But, I mean, honestly, why did she have to do her like that? So, the footman puts the shoe on her, which I don't get why the prince didn't go with them. Because, like, he was the only one that, like, saw her, you know? So, like, shouldn't he be the one to automatically know if it's her or not? Like, especially if it's true love. Like, why do you need whatever. Okay, I'm ranting. I'm sorry, but it doesn't make sense. And it makes me mad because I'm, like, a huge Disney fan and, like, whatever. Okay, so anyway, so Cinderella tries on the shoe, it fits, and she goes to the castle and marries the prince. Not the king, the prince. Because I was about to say the king, but it wasn't the king, it was the prince. So we got some bronzer. So let's move on to the actual story that, like, the whole thing is based off of. Okay, so obviously we know that the mother dies, like we already mentioned in the first one, but in this, when the mother is actually still alive when Cinderella's a little girl, it doesn't mention if Cinderella, like, knew her mother. But, yeah, like in the movie, it doesn't mention if she knew her mother. But in the story of the Grimm brothers, she knew her mother. Like, she knew that she was an amazing woman and everything. I saw that trend, and I'm just going to do it on this video. So, also, I believe this is supposed to be a bronzer, but I use it more of a contour, and then I have a powder bronzer I use. But it was from Shein. It's not my favorite, but it's, like, the only thing I have that's, like, a contour, so I use it. And I just use my beauty blender to just blend it out. So, let's keep on going. So, in the story of Cinderella, the Grimm brothers version, the father, he just, like, he doesn't seem like a great guy. Like, he's never there, you know, and, like, except for at the ball, okay? So, we're gonna get into that, but he's, like, never there for Cinderella. So, Cinderella, her mother died at a really young age, and like I said, like, the mother was still alive at the time, like, when she was young, so she still had, like, a little bit of a memory of her. And the mother told her before she died to, you know, always be nice and be patient and kind and joyful and everything, and just to treat everyone with respect. And so Cinderella is like, okay, Mom, I'll do that. Like, I'll, you know, yeah. So Cinderella, she is patient, she's kind, she's amazing, she's beautiful, and her father is like, Cinderella needs, you know, like, a mother figure. But no, he wants to get, like, the worst mother figure possible. So he gets a mother figure who has 2 stepdaughters. I'm not saying anything's wrong with being a stepmother and having 2 daughters. That's not what I'm talking about being bad. Okay, she was just a horrible person. So he brought home the stepmother and the 2 daughters. It was like, this is going to be our family now, and you're going to get over it. And she was like, okay, I have no say in this, like, whatsoever. So Cinderella, she is patient with, you know, everyone in the family, and, you know, she doesn't complain about anything. And when the stepmother and the two daughters came in, they made her basically be a servant. And the father was there, like, the whole entire time. And he didn't do anything. Like, it doesn't mention that he, like, stood up for her or anything. So, she was just, like, a servant to literally all of them. It's ridiculous. And so, one day, when she was cleaning, the stepsisters were like, why does she get to eat with us? And so, they made her clean the cinders from the fireplace. And that's where she got her nickname, Cinderella. And yes, her actual name was Ella, but they changed it to Cinderella because they were just horrible people. So, yeah. So, like, time went on, and she had to keep being their servant, basically. They were told that there was a ball, and everyone was going there. And so, her family went too. And, like, you know, the prince is trying to find a wife. And so the stepmother is trying to get her daughters married to the prince. So Cinderella is like, I need to get out of the situation. And Cinderella hears about this ball that they're all going to. They say festival, but like I say ball because, you know, in the movie, and everyone just knows the movie, so yeah, but it's a festival. So she tries to go to it. She asks her stepmother, like, can I go? I don't know why she's not asking the father. He's there. She's not actually her mother. So I got nothing on that. But she's like asking to go. And so the stepmother's like, oh yeah, no, you can go, but you have to clean up this whole bowl of seeds off the ground. I forgot to mention this, but when her mother died, she was so like struck with grief, the daughter, Cinderella, that she went to her back, like, garden area, and she just cried. So one day, her father had to go on a business trip, and he asked his daughters what they would want while he's gone. One daughter is like, I want clothes, and then the other one is like, I want jewelry. So then he asked Cinderella what she wanted. And she's like, I want a twig that your hat brushes up against on your journey. And so on the way back home from his business thingy, his hat brushed up against a tree. So he came back and gave the twig to Cinderella and the dress and the jewelries to the other daughters. And she went to the garden in the back of their house and planted a tree there. I'm going to brush this off. Or not. So she went and planted it and cried so much because her mother was dead that it grew a tree. She asked her stepmother if she could go to this ball. And the stepmother was like, you can go, but only if you pick up all these seeds off of the floor. And in like an hour or 2 hours. And Cinderella was like, okay. And so she was like devastated that she had to do that, but you know, she wanted to go to the ball very badly. So she asked her friends, as in the animals, they picked up all the bad seeds and they planted them in the backyard, and then all the good seeds were in the bowl. And so Cinderella was able to pick up all of the seeds in like an hour. Literally like less time than the stepmother said. So she was able to go, but she thought she was able to go, but her I keep thinking grandmother, that's not right. Her stepmother was like, you can't go, you don't have anything to wear. And so she just ran out and started crying. By this time, everyone was gone. The stepsisters, stepmom, and the father were all gone to the festival. It's just sad. So Cinderella, she goes to the back of the house and she starts crying. And there was this bird that came down and gave her anything she wished. So, and it was at her mother's, like, grave tree, like, that's where, yeah. Alright, so Cinderella, she gets this tree that's, like, so beautiful, and she goes to the festival. The prince is like, I'm only dancing with this woman. She was like, oh, okay, I'll just dance with you then, I guess. Setting powder. Can't forget the setting powder. If you forget the setting powder, you're screwed. And so, Cinderella is dancing with the prince, and everyone's like, who is this person dancing with the prince? Like, she can't just dance with her. And for some reason, no one, like, not even her family could recognize her. I guess it's because, you know, they basically just think she's a servant, but, you know, she's not. So she goes and, you know, stays, like, all night with the prince, mostly. But she has to go home once it's late. And so the king, like, follows her into this chicken coop at her house, and he asks the father asks Cinderella's father, like, is this your house? And he's like, yeah, like, this might be Cinderella. So they go get an axe and cut, like, the coop down. Find that she's not actually there. She's in the house on the, like, tile area, and she's, like, disgusting, and she has her old, like, so she has those clothes on, and how she got to the house so fast is that she got out of the pigeon coop, or whatever it's called, and changed really fast, went up the tree, and was, like, hiding there for a minute. And then she went and changed. And yeah. So it was a lot. She was doing a lot. So, and she had to do all this just so that she wouldn't get caught. The prince just goes back to the, I feel like I am starting to look a lot like Cinderella. Okay, so anyway, the prince goes back to the festival, and it's a 3-day festival, mind you, so he has 3 chances to actually find out who she is. And so the second day, she does the exact same thing. She goes back to the tree, asks the bird for a dress, gives her something that's even more beautiful than the first one. She heads out to the ball, meets the prince, and dances with him again all night, only to leave him once it got late. And he was like, well, no, I want to know who you are. I'm going to escort you home just to make sure you get home safe. But he actually just wants to know who she is. So she goes home. Well, she escapes from him, goes home. Like, not escapes, like, you know what I mean. She doesn't want to know. She doesn't want him to know she doesn't want him to know where she lives. So he follows her, but loses track of her because she goes into this, like, tree, and I think it is the one that like got planted from the twig that's on her mother's grave. Yeah, that's the whole thing. And so Cinderella, she goes and hides in this tree, and so the father, again, Cinderella's father and the prince, go get the axe and cut down the tree. But she's already gone. She's where the fireplace is, sleeping already. She's dirty. She ditched the dress and everything. She's back. They know that she's there, so obviously she couldn't be at the festival. So third day comes, and that's the day where she leaves the shoe. And so the prince finds it, like, again, I'm not going to repeat it again, but the whole thing happens again. She just, like, goes to the ball, and she gets a dress that's even more beautiful. So I guess I am repeating it. But she gets another dress. It's even more beautiful than the first and the second. It's, like, gold, and it's just flowy. Yeah, it's a beautiful dress. And so Cinderella, she accidentally, like, leaves the shoe, And so this is, like, where it gets really, really dark. God, I'm shiny. Can you see that reflect? Okay, I'm sorry. So Cinderella, she's, like, she's just not there once the prince and yeah, once the prince gets there, and yeah, it is the prince that actually goes there. It's not the guards. I think the guards go with him, but he is there. So the mom forces the girls to try the shoes on. She brings the older daughter in to the bedroom and says, try it on or cut your toe off. I don't get why she wasn't screaming in pain. I would have been, but she wasn't. And she wasn't screaming in pain or anything, and she just went out there and the foot was bleeding. It's glass. You would think that, you know, you could see it even if it wasn't. It just doesn't make any sense. You know, the prince and the oldest daughter leave. And then the birds that are Cinderella's friends say that, you know, it's the wrong one, and he looks down and says that this isn't my true bride. So he goes back to, I'm sorry, my voice sounded weird. It does that sometimes when I'm doing my makeup. I don't know why. So the prince goes back and is like, this isn't the right woman. Honestly, I would have looked at him and been like, how could you tell? So, I'm sorry, I'm weird. So the stepmom is like, okay, so she brings the other daughter into the bedroom and is like, try it on. If it doesn't fit, cut off your heel. Again, I don't get how these women are not crying in agony. So she cuts off her heel because the shoe doesn't fit and goes out and is like, oh yeah, the shoe fits. It's not actually fitting. And also, it's the same shoe. Did they wash it before they gave the shoe to her? Because, I mean, her heel would have been open wounding, you know, like, she would have gotten so many different blood diseases. And we don't know who's fooling around with who in this story. Like, no, I just don't get it. I guess fooling around doesn't really matter when it comes to blood, but at the same time, like, but whatever. Okay, so she comes out and it fits. It doesn't actually fit. I mean, come on, we're not stupid. So he goes off. Apparently he's stupid. He goes off and he is like, yeah, no, this is my true bride. Like, I'm gonna marry her now. So the birds say the same thing again to him. It's like, this one isn't right. Look at her shoe. So he, or foot, whatever. So he looks, and it's bleeding because, you know, she cut her heel off. I don't get how she's not screaming in pain. And I feel like I could also use this look for Jasmine. So he looks down, sees that the foot is bleeding, and goes back. And he's like, no, this woman is not the true person. And, like, if it was a masquerade ball, I would get it. If he couldn't, like, figure out who she is. But, I mean, like, come on, dude. How can you not know? If it's supposed to be true love, I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Okay. I'm going to stop ranting, I hope. So, he goes back and is like, this woman is not mine. Like, this, like, not, like, obviously isn't her. Like, women don't belong to men. I'm going to use red lip. Yeah, I'm going to use red lip. I was going to use blue, but I feel like it's, like, an elegant look, so let's just not do that. Let's not be as bold as my eyes. So we're not going to. Cinderella is, like, doing what she does, like, somewhere in the house. And the prince is like, do you have anyone else in this house? And he's like, well, he specifically is her father. He's like, oh, no, we don't have anyone in this house. And the stepmother backs him up. He's like, yeah, we have one. It's my daughter, Cinderella, but, like, she can't be, like, that just doesn't make any sense. But the prince insists on having them get her. So, you know, the father has to do what the father's got to do. He goes, even though he's not doing the right, I mean, he didn't do the right thing, but now he's doing the right thing. So the dad, he goes and he gets Cinderella, and she tries on the shoe, and she fits it. She fits the shoe. And so the prince is like, yay, I found my actual bride. Now we're going to get to the part where it's animals eating humans, basically. So at their wedding, Cinderella invited her stepsisters, and they wanted to be on her good side. One was on her right hand, the other was on her left hand when Cinderella was walking down the aisle to marry the prince. I mean, it serves them right. Like, what they did was so messed up, but the birds that were Cinderella's friends came in and attacked the stepsisters. The birds ate the stepsisters' eyes out, and they were blind for the rest of their lives. So that's the end of the story, and this is the finished look. I hope you guys like it. Stay positive. Make sure to like and subscribe and click the notification buttons for future videos and all that fun stuff. I hope you guys have a great week or weekend whenever this gets posted, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!